Well, howdy, guys and gals, and those who like to square dance in between. Dankey Kang here with another look into some sweet Southern boys, some Aryan master race boys, talking to us about why the color of a person's skin gives them the right to put another person in chains. These are, of course, Tennesseans, just like me. But unlike me, they are like the on the opposite end of the political spectrum. Um, but before we get started, I just wanted to say I love Tennessee. I love Tennessee. I love this state. I love the land. I love some of the people in it. But I mean, as we're about to see, there's a whole lot of people in this state that are just assholes. That are just racist, reactionary, bigoted assholes. And I don't give a fuck about reaching across the aisle and trying to make friends with people like this and folks who hold their ideas. And not everybody who holds these kinds of reactionary ideas flies a rebel flag or says Sig Heil, but they still believe in the ideas. They're still friends and political comrades with these people by proxy. Because I'm sure if you laid down like a list of the ideas that they all hold, there's a tremendous amount of overlap there that just can't really be ignored. So with all that said, let's get into these guys. Truly specimens of the master race, and we're gonna figure out uh, why the mainstream media is giving them such a bad rep.
To meet two men who feel enraged by the heritage versus hate debate.
They're enraged by the debate.
It's inspired.
Yep. Sig Heil. Sig Heil.
Sig Heil, brother.
Mike Schloer and Brian Culpepper.
Oh yeah. Let's also kind of take a look.
In Tennessee, Mike
So the dude's wearing like long black boots. I wonder if those are steel-toed boots, because of course we all know Nazis were famous for wearing steel-toed boots so that they can kick and stomp on communists and Jews and other undesirables when they were in the street.
And Culpepper subscribed to an.
All right, so let's take a look at what we've got working, what we're working with here. We've got the dude's got a bike. Of course, this isn't to put down bikers, but there are a lot of like white supremacist bikers out there. That's kind of why it's a dog whistle when, Trump says things like, "Oh, I've got the bikers on my side. I've got the big tough guys on my side, the cops, the bikers. What do the Antifa have? They have little skinny arms. But at the same time, you're supposed to be like terrified of them." So these guys, they have a National Socialist fucking flag, rebel flag. Of course, that's just a symbol of Southern heritage and pride. It's not at all associated with like the white supremacist movement or like Nazism or anything like that. I mean, it hasn't been co-opted, and it hasn't been used by them like literally ever since the Civil War.
Apocalyptic vision of white genocide.
So you think white people are under siege?
Absolutely.
White people are under siege while we have like President Trump spouting like blatant white supremacist talking points, and this fucking sweaty weird asshole is gonna like say he's a member of the master race. We're being genocided. We're being genocided against, me and my buddy. Y'all need to listen to us now, because we're the master race, and y'all just need to submit. Y'all just need to go back to the plantation, put yourself back in those chains, and get to picking cotton, because we're the master race.
We're facing extinction.
They're part of the.
We're facing extinction. Jesus Christ, look at this fucking guy. I'm not gonna attack somebody for their physical appearance, but these people, their whole fucking view are that they're physically superior to everybody else. And I mean, he needs to be a little bit more humble. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna attack how he looks or anything like that, but I'm just gonna say he needs to be a little bit more humble uh, in describing himself as like the prime specimen of the Aryan supreme race. Uh, but it does seem to be kind of applicable to the majority of these neo Nazis. I haven't met like Richard Spencer. He's like the exception. He's kind of handsome. He's a handsy boy. Uh, I'm straight, but 10 out of 10 would smash if he wasn't a Nazi. But these guys, on the other hand, something, there's something to be said.
The National Socialist Movement, the largest neo-Nazi group in the country.
But and I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, they had National Socialism in the name, so that must be that they were socialist." It's like, all right, find me like a single communist fucking author. Like, show me the work in Lenin where he was like, well, fascism actually a pretty good idea. Show me the writing in Stalin where he was like, oh yeah, Hitler's, actually, guys, I think we should do what Hitler's doing. It's a great idea.
Do you think the events in Charleston have had an impact on your membership and the people interested in your organisation?
Undoubtedly. Yes.
Undoubtedly. So here are these goobers, these master race goobers, telling this lady that when Dylan Roof went to a black church and shot up all those people, it helped them. It helped their cause. It helped bring more weird, murderous assholes into their ranks.
With the numbers of phone calls and.
So this is Captain. This is Captain Brian Culpepper. I want to know what the fuck he's captain of. How did he call? These people are like wannabe soldiers. They're like wannabe in the army, but maybe they were kicked out because they weren't like physically able or what have you. But fucking Captain Brian Culpepper, the army, probably an army reject, just decides, oh, I'm gonna make myself a captain. Damn it! I didn't get accepted to the military. I wanted to be called like general or something. I'm just gonna call myself a captain because I'm leading an army here, leading an army of Nazis.
Emails and one-on-one encounters, undoubtedly. Yes. With the numbers of phone calls and emails and one-on-one encounters that we're getting.
What?
I think he's also, once again, I'm not trying to talk shit about their appearance, but seems like he doesn't have a set of bottom teeth, and the guy really needs to, check himself before he starts going around calling himself like the physically superior to like black people.
Numbers of phone calls and
mentally
emails
superior
and
to black
one-on-one
people.
Encounters that we're getting.
What type of people are they?
People from all walks of life. People from truck drivers to lawyers.
Lawyers. So, I mean, these are people who are educated, but they still find themselves. And that's another thing I want to talk about with this. All these neo-Nazis, they're not just these like back-ass hillbillies, inbred fucking rednecks. They're lawyers. They're people who like have, do you want your lawyer to be a member of this group? These National Socialists? If you were a black person, you get a public attorney, and he's a member of this fucking group, you think you have a good shot at, winning your case?
To retirees, to former military.
Former military. See, a lot of these guys are like ex-military. And then after they get out of the army, they get, they rotate back, they find out, America doesn't give a fucking shit about its veterans. And then they get angry because they think like, oh, it's the Mexicans stealing all of our money, and the white race is going down the tubes, and we're all just soldiers. We're all just tools for the Jew and the international Jewry. And then they, next thing you know, they're calling themselves a captain, and they're, kitted up with Nazi gear, and they're giving themselves a Sig Heil out on their ranch.
And those that are currently serving.
So not only does he have like former military, but he's got currently serving active military members. And I might do a video on this in the future, but the U.S. military has a Nazi problem, got a white supremacist problem. So this guy, I mean, he's pretty much telling us straight from the horse's mouth, like, yeah, we've got fucking military guys in our ranks.
Whites are getting fed up.
Whites are getting fed up. Fed up with what? Like, I don't know. There was a black character on my TV show. I'm getting fed up. It's time to kill everybody. Like, what a bunch of whiny, privileged assholes. There's no fucking genocide going on. I mean, let me go find that picture I drew a long time ago, like 5 days ago. Pretty much showing you why white genocide's just the stupidest fucking idea that these idiots have ever conceived of. This is the great replacement theory. This is great replacement in a nutshell. Here you have normal society, it's like all white people, and then you have like one black guy come in, and it's literally genocide, you guys. It's literally genocide. It's like the exact same as like Hitler rounding up all the Jews and like systematically gassing them all to death. It's literally the exact same thing. It's not hyperbolic whatsoever. It's not hyperbolic whatsoever to say that this is genocide. Fucking idiots. I mean, this is the level of intellect these people are operating on. And you expect me to believe that they're the master race? You expect me to believe that, these guys are like the smarter than somebody who's read like socialist theory, somebody who's, read anything at all in general besides just, like Mein Kampf or something stupid like that, like Dylan Roof's Manifesto. It's like the only thing these people probably read in like 10 years.
Getting tired of being disenfranchised and
Whites are being disenfranchised. Like, no.
neglected, if not discriminated against by our own government.
Does it make you angry?
Our own government. Meanwhile, Trump's the president saying like both sides were just as many bad people on both sides. When it comes to Charlottesville, and these guys are talking about how white people are being discriminated against. What a bunch of fucking babies. You want to know what real discrimination looks like? How about you look up some Southern history? Look at the slave system. That's what real discrimination looks like. How about you look up like Jim Crow? Of course, all these fuckers were probably for it. All these fuckers are like the reason why Jim Crow existed in the first place. People like these guys.
Angry that a black man is your president?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're a white nation founded by and for the white man.
We're a white nation founded for and by the white man. All right, I might make another video about this in the future, but like, there's basically two ideas of America. There's like the America that's like Christian, white, conservative dominated, where men are men and the whites are top dogs in society, and everything functions the exact way as it should be, because everybody knows their place. Women, minorities, everybody. And then there's the other America that wants us all to, be these free, gender fluid, queer and proud of it, drug taking, pot smoking hippies. But unlike the conservative America, it's like an America that doesn't exclude entire demographics of like the human race. And it certainly isn't one that puts one group of people in a position of superiority above everybody else. So this guy's whole conception, like America's a white nation for white people, that's like just pretty much justification for fascism. In this guy's stupid little brain, his superior Aryan master race brain, he thinks that America should be a white nation for white people. But the fact is that America has a lot more people in it than just white people. And so this moron, like, I guess he wants to build an ethno state, but what's his fucking solution for all the minorities living here? Is he just gonna kill them all? Is he just gonna deport them all? Like, he doesn't think people will die in the deportation process? He doesn't think people will try to, resist being forced out of their homes and out of the country? And after all that happens, let's say he gets his ethno state. Let's say that he gets his perfect little white purebred society. What then? what's the next step after that? How are you going to run it? It's you're going to have to find somebody else to exploit, I guess, because these people sure as hell aren't socialists. It's not going to be like a commune. Somebody's going to have to be on top. After all, these idiots, all they're good at is bootlicking. All they're good at is bootlicking and following orders. And so they need a Führer, they need an El Duce to fucking boss them around. Because these knuckle-dragging Neanderthals are too stupid to lead society in anything. These people aren't leaders, they're not political masterminds. They're simpletons.
Yeah, we're considering this as our Tennessee headquarters.
Mike takes me to his garden where he says local NSM members train.
Doing our training, field training, and
so these turds are out here doing field training out in the woods, planning for, I don't know, what are they planning for? A race war? What are they planning for? To attack another church? You don't think Dylan Roof looked up to people like this? You don't think Dylan Roof, if he had one of these like nearby his home, he wouldn't have like told his mommy to drop him off there in her van so he could, go play pretend LARP and with his stupid little Nazi friends?
He is adamant his is a non-violent organization.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're totally non-violent. Meanwhile, like, look at all of our fucking guns and how we just do these military exercises for when the race war finally gets kicked off, guys. But we're totally non-violent.
This merely self-defense in a heavily armed nation.
and if you use it responsibly, and you're not out doing criminal activities and killing innocent people.
Unlike what Dylan Roof did, who we certainly don't support. We certainly don't support what Dylan Roof did.
Like that young man in South Carolina, then you have every right to be able to own and use a firearm.
But it's the toxic mixture of guns and racism that has so often made extremism in America deadly.
You've read Dylan Roof's comments. Do you have any sympathy with them?
I think he's bringing up some very valid talking points.
All right, so this dork, like I said, he probably hadn't read like anything since he got out of school. He probably didn't go to college, so I mean he's probably just right out of high school. He might have even dropped out, so he probably hasn't read anything since he like dropped out of high school, and now he's fucking read Dylan Roof's manifesto, and he's like, oh yeah, this kid, who shot up a church full of black people, who we certainly don't condone, and we certainly denounce. I think he had a lot of valid points.
Even though I don't agree with what he did, we are being overwhelmed in our own nations. We are being systematically and deliberately replaced.
I don't need to bring up that great replacement picture I drew, but I mean, just picture it in the background of this.
There are many people that would find your comments racist, extreme, and dangerous.
Like, obviously, she says there are many people, and I think she's being too nice to them here. Like, literally anybody with a brain inside their skull would see that this is racist.
Do you think
the only people who don't see this as racist are people like these guys, just fucking Nazis? And once, let me re-clarify. You don't have to call yourself a Nazi to be a fucking Nazi. You just have to hold the same ideas as Nazis.
you are?
We are I'm a racist. I certainly am.
At least he's has the honesty to just come right out and say it. I'm a racist. It'd be really funny if you heard like these guys with like swastikas on the background just say, "Oh, I'm not a racist. I'm a race realist," or I'm an identitarian," or something stupid like that.
Extremist. That remains to be seen.
That remains to be seen until I, go shoot up a church or, order somebody to shoot up a church. Because after all, I am the captain. I don't have to do the grunt work. But I might have a hand in like planning it out or something like that.
Are you dangerous?
No, ma'am.
No, man, we're not dangerous. We just completely condone, like, white supremacist terrorism, and we have our guns, and we're doing some training exercises out here. But no, man, we're not dangerous at all. We're not dangerous at all. We wouldn't hurt a fly.
No, ma'am.
They're known for staging provocative protests. This weekend, they'll join the Ku Klux Klan rally.
The Ku Klux Klan that lynched all those black people and killed all those black people. But, these guys, they're non-violent. They're not a threat at all. They're just buddies with the fucking cuckoo, the KKK. Dumb fucking name. Like right-wingers have never been smart. The Ku Klux Klan is a stupid fucking sounding name, and they all call themselves like the Grand Wizard and the Arch Wizard. They're so stupid. They're so cringy and stupid. Why would anybody want to? How people can go to like a KKK meeting and wear the dumb little hoods and say like white power, and not just feel ashamed of themselves afterward, shows just a complete lack of self-awareness.
Rallying in support of the Confederate flag. It's thought the KKK now has fewer than 4,000 members, but their public parade is a reminder.
All right, so look at these people. We got a lady here, a KKK lady. And this is the weird thing about women in the alt-right, women in these communities. It's like you think you're respected here. The only reason why the white female is venerated in neo-Nazi circles is just her capacity to breed more kids. They don't want you to be the leader. They don't want you to have a job. They don't want you to be free and liberated. They want you to just be a fucking housewife breeder for the white race. That's the only thing they view women as being useful for, white women included. Just because you're part of this Aryan master race doesn't mean that to these people you're literally just a sperm dumpster and breeder. That's all you are. It boils you down to the most insulting misogynistic function that they can put on you, and she's just willingly going along with that. Yeah, I want to fucking support people who hate women, even though I'm a woman. It just goes to show these people are idiots. These people are idiots, and look at this guy on the far right, and the guy in the middle. I mean, they're all just losers, dude. But, this could be a loser that you work with. This could be a fucking loser that, babysits your kids. This could be a fucking loser that, gives you a speeding ticket on the side of the road. This could be a loser that, is your manager at a job interview. So keep all that in mind when you see these people wearing their masks. They wear the mask for the reason.
Reminder of what campaigners does.
Oh my God.
4,000 members, but their public parade is a reminder.
Look at these goofball dorks. Look at their fucking dorky ass purple robes with the little stars on it and the little pointy hats, and tell me that they say that the left are LARPers. They say that the left are just cringy as fuck. People like Destiny says the left is cringy as fuck. Well, then what the fuck does he think about these guys? Does he think that these guys are fucking cool? Do right-wingers honestly think that this is cool? And I'm not saying Destiny's a right-winger, but there's a lot of racist MAGA chuds out there that look up to the KKK. I just want to say, do these fucking people look like they're worth admiring?
Of what campaigners describe as a poisonous spectacle.
Look, they have their dumb little ceremonial swords and their purple robes and their badges and their patches and their little bands that they put around themselves. This is such a dumb little fucking club of just pathetic racist losers that never went anywhere in life, and so they just blame black people for it. I mean, look at it. All these guys are fucking 40, 50 years old. They probably are stuck in a dead-end job, and they just blame the Mexicans or the Jews And to take out their anger, they just go to these fucking like meetings every weekend where they just burn a cross and they just whine and bitch about how the good glory days are over and how the white race is gonna die any day now. You know, even though white people are still here and they're always gonna fucking be here because they're a giant block of like the human population. But yeah, let's
of hate.
Do you think race relations have
So this is David Hayes from Black Lives Matter.
taken a
Let's see
step
what he
back
has to say.
with Barack
Get this disgusting taste of white supremacy out of our mouths.
Obama?
I don't really see us taking a huge step back. I think people get confused because they thought we took a huge step forward in the first place.
We also got
And see, dude's speaking the truth here because he's saying like there were a lot, and there were a ton of like, especially liberals who thought that we lived like in a post-racist society because the president was black. And, you know, meanwhile, black people the entire time have been saying, no, pay attention. I'm white, but I try my darndest to pay attention to black people. And, you know, anybody that pays like even the slightest bit of attention to black people understands that we don't live in this fucking post-racist society.
Got to realize the bigger picture, the mind state, and the history of white supremacy still holds on, and that must be addressed.
I think it's the whole.
It has to be addressed, but there's so many people in Tennessee that say, "Oh, it's too painful to talk about. You know, we shouldn't have a conversation about it because it's just too controversial. It'll step on too many toes." You know, meanwhile, we have like homegrown Nazi terrorist cells growing in our backyard. Churches being burned, shot up, and coup people coming to your fucking courthouse and protesting and stuff.
Whole domestic terrorism issue.
Darrell Johnson is the former senior terrorism analyst at the Department of Homeland Security. He says the president has consistently ignored the rising threat of right-wing extremism.
And I wonder why that is. It can't be because Trump's a white supremacist, can it? I mean, this is the same guy that still thinks the Central Park Five is guilty. This is a guy who denied like housing applications for black people. You can look at the history. It's no big shock to anybody that a white supremacist president would endorse would not support DHS going after white supremacist terrorist cells. Even though I can link to an article that shows that right-wing terrorism is overwhelmingly larger than left-wing terrorism, especially in the United States. I made a video about it. I made a video about how left-wing terrorism isn't practical to left-wing praxis. But right-wing terrorism, we're seeing a marked rise in it, and a lot of it is because of the alt-right on the internet, and a lot of it is because we have a president in the White House who says there were very fine people on both sides when it comes to talking about Charlottesville.
The combined total of far-right extremists active here in America is in the hundreds of thousands.
The hundreds of thousands. Now, do you think President Trump, if he was told that like we have hundreds of thousands of radical jihadist Muslims in the United States, do you think he would say to the DHS, "Oh, it's not important. It's not a big deal"? Hundreds of thousands of fucking Nazis in this country training, going through these stupid little militia exercises, armed to the teeth with AR-15s and other guns, radicalized by the internet and by our president, shooting up churches, shooting up mosques. But no, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. We should focus all of our attention on this radical Islamic threat and kicking out Mexicans and immigrants from Latin and South America. Especially kids, especially children and parents seeking asylum. Those are a much bigger threat to our security than Nazis.
Now compare that to ISIS supporters. We have probably just a few thousand of those.
A few
What's
thousand.
the answer?
Well, the answer is we are desperately in need of more resources here in America to.
The answer, ladies and gentlemen, he says we need more resources. We're not going to get them from Trump. We're not going to get the resources from Trump. And besides, a lot of that is reactive. They wait until after, a sleeper cell does some kind of terrorist event, and then they crack down on them. What Antifa does is proactive. We go out there and we try to nip this in the bud. We try to go out there and keep fascists from rallying in the streets and doing displays of force. And you say, oh, we shouldn't use violence against them because then we're just as bad. No, fascists rallying in the streets. It's like that Public Enemy song. Their identity by themselves causes violence. Like just the very act of like fascists being there and marching down the streets saying blood and soil and Jews won't replace us, that is an act of violence because it's a call to violence. It's a call to action against like the Jews and minorities and stuff like that. So when the Black Bloc shows up and fucking bashes the fash, and liberals and people in the mainstream media get all pissy and they start saying Antifa is just as bad. Antifa is the real pho. They're missing the point entirely. They're missing the forest for the trees. They have their heads so far up their liberal capitalist bootlicking asses that they can't even fucking see anymore. So that was the fine master race boys from Tennessee. They made me ashamed to be white. They made me ashamed to be myself. Literally genocide, you guys. Literally fucking genocide. What a bunch of children. What a bunch of babies. But they're babies with guns and yeah, there's literally nothing they can say anymore to convince me that these fucking people are non-violent and that they're not a threat. Obviously, these people are a fucking threat. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. I like being told what a communist pansy pussy shitlord I am. Little shit boy who lives in his mom's basement and doesn't know the real world. I like being told wait until you have to pay taxes and then you won't be a liberal anymore, even though I'm not a liberal. Anyway, thank you for watching.